Quitting almost never sounds like quitting. Quitting almost never feels dramatic. And most people, they don't slam the door and run out of a room. Most people just skip a day. And then they skip the next day for whatever reason. It sounds good to them. And then by Friday, they're not doing it anymore. And by next month, they're back to where they started. They don't remember how they quit. They don't remember the moment that they quit. See, that's the thing. Quitting starts small. It always starts small. And that's why it's so dangerous. So I want to come back to a story that we talked about from my neighbor Al. There's just a part of it I want you to hear. So when Al told me I was looking green, my first move was to talk myself out of it. There's nothing wrong with me. I mean, I was in EMT school and I figured I knew what was happening and I had a perfectly reasonable explanation. I was hyperventilating. It made sense. It sounded smart, but that's how it works. That voice in your head, it talks us out of things. It doesn't sound stupid. It really sounds smart. Remember last Thursday, we talked about fear in a costume of wisdom? It's the same thing here. That voice that wants you to quit, it sounds reasonable. It says, you've been pushing hard. Take a day off. You've earned it, of course. It says, you can't pour from an empty cup. Rest is important too. It says, you're being too rigid. Life isn't this strict. It also says, you miss one day, it won't hurt anything. But every one of those statements can be true sometimes. And every one of those statements is also the voice of quitting wearing a really good costume. So how do you tell the difference? It's the same way you figured out fear last week. You just ask better questions. Question 1, have I been skipping a lot lately, or is this actually a one-off? If you've been skipping a lot, it isn't rest. This is just slowly quitting. You will know the difference. Question 2 is, what would a person I'm trying to be do today? Not what would the tired version of me do today? What would the future version of me thank me for? Question 3 is, if I skip today, do I have a clear plan to be back on track tomorrow? No drama, no guilt spiral. If the answer is yes, one off might actually be fine. But if you can't honestly say yes, skipping today is the start of a real problem. So here's another thing I want to share. The day you don't feel like it is exactly the day you have to show up, and it matters the most because anybody can do the work when they feel like it. And that's not what builds the muscle. What builds that muscle is the rep you do when everything in you says not to. That rep, when you don't feel like it, it's worth 10 times any of the easy ones. And I'll tell you what I do when I don't want to go swimming. There's a lot of days I just don't feel like it. I just lower the bar. Instead of trying to go do a whole mile, like go there, like I'm going to do a mile. No, I just lower the bar. I tell myself, I'm just going to put my swimsuit on. I'm going to get to the pool. That's it. Just get to the pool. 90% of the time, once I'm at the pool, I get in. And once I'm in, I do at least a few laps. Most of the days turn into a full mile. Occasionally, I drop it down to 3/4 of a mile. There's the potential I could end up just doing like half a mile or just a few laps. It doesn't matter. But what matters here is I didn't break that chain, but I showed up. And that's the move. When you don't feel like it, don't ask yourself to do the whole thing. Ask yourself, what's the smallest possible version of it? Like putting on your running shoes or opening the document. Pick up your phone to make that call. But walk into the other room. Once you get started, the momentum kicks in. And on the rare day it doesn't kick in, you still feel like you did something and you didn't break that streak that you were on of getting things done. There's one more thing about quitting that I want you to know. The damage of quitting isn't the day that you missed. The damage is what you tell yourself about it afterwards. If you skip the day, you say, yesterday I missed a day. I'm back today. And then you're fine. That's not quitting. That's just having a day. But if you skip the day and you say, see, I knew I couldn't keep this up. I'm not the kind of person who does this. Now you're in trouble because you're letting one missed day become the verdict on who you are. And that's the dangerous part. That's how you slowly start quitting. So don't let one miss become the story of who you are. It's not. It's just a missed day. So get up tomorrow. You show up tomorrow. And that's it. So here's your action item for today. Decide right now, before any moment comes that you feel like quitting, what are you going to do when you don't feel like showing up? Pre-decide on what the lower bar is. Maybe it's, if I don't want to go to the gym, at least I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk. If I don't want to write, at least I'm going to open the book. Decide now. Pre-decide. Don't wait for the moment to figure it out. Because in that moment, that loud voice in your head is going to win, and you don't want that to happen. Tomorrow we'll close out this week with the compound effect of showing up, the math that nobody talks about. I'm going to see you there. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.